I wanted to do a little bit of a kind of like a guided meditation slash like introduction to a part that comes up. I'm gonna do it specifically to an experience that I went through as a child in first grade. I was called upon to answer a question in class, and this is coming from someone who had a learning disability, and I didn't know how to read until I was like fluently read till I was like in third grade. And so this was first grade, and the way how I kind of understood how my innocent inner child tried to comprehend, learn, like reading and writing was just through memorization rather than being taught the like I needed the fundamentals of how letters sounded, and if you know what Wilson is, then pretty much it's Wilson. And yeah, so I didn't receive that. Like the kids who went to the special I don't know, special learning. That was me. Uh and so I was called upon in class to spell the word my, which is my. And I had just started to learn how to sound out words. And I remember, so I said mi. And the whole class laughed. And the teacher thought that I was being a class clown when I wasn't. And she's like, she made me keep on saying it till I got it right, till she wanted me to say it the way how she wanted it to be said, rather than me just being confused, probably reacting and surviving into a frozen state, and ultimately also embarrassed and worried about doing something wrong. And she ended up tweaking out on me because she was embarrassed. And I'm more of just storytelling right now. I didn't even get to the introduction of the part. And I remember sitting down and she just like flipped my desk. She would do this to kids when they would like act out. And it's wild because it's like first grade and you're like causing this ridiculous stir over, instead of being compassionate and a leader and a teacher. Super wild, super trippy. Causing terror and horror in children and projecting fear in your own inferiority and shame and guilt, whatever, all that stuff. So back to the I remember also not being able to go to recess that day as well. So, and the shame, the projected shame on myself of having to pick up all my stuff in front of class was tough. It was not fun. So anyway, that's what I wanted to bring up. So let's I guess I was kind of supposed to talk about it as we enter into a meditation, and you might be able to relate to this. Going through a similar experience, it doesn't even have to be through school. It could be through, a parent or family member or some friends or some traumatic experience where it caused you to go into shock and, whatever comes up. And we're going to go through a little bit of a healing process with just acknowledging this block, this traumatic experience. So let's take a deep breath in. Into your hips, and then into the heart, and then hold it for like 6 seconds. And just allowing the energy to flow. allowing the energy to come up from your lower chakras and up, and allowing the emotions to be recognized. I mentioned fear coming up, as well as terror and horror, and then my coping mechanism was shame. Hold, because ultimately, causing a fear of failure, of doing something wrong, and then identifying with me doing something wrong, that something bad follows with that, and that failure leads to more problems. Breathing in, relaxing, softening. Going inwards and holding this child, my inner child that went through this experience, that ultimately bad things don't happen when I do something wrong. And that failure is natural. The people that succeed most in life are the ones that have failed the most. And this melodramatic failure that was even more heightened because of someone else's external reaction was out of my control. And that failure is a learning experience serving me. So it doesn't make sense to be afraid of failure. But acknowledge the emotions that come with failure. That this part, my inner child, is still holding on to. Deep breath. My man Schwipping in the background. Let it go. Soften. Relax. Bring acknowledgement. Allowing flow. The current of the present. I can still tell that I'm holding on to this part of me that's afraid, and that's okay. That there's probably something deeper to it as well. And that's just part of the journey. The experience, climbing this mountain, to be more of myself. Relax. And the sadness and, oh my gosh, it's been 9 minutes. So, there's always something deeper, and that's okay. This is more of like an introduction to, if you came this far, to whatever you might be holding on to as well. And the depth and the weight is not normal. You're not born in this life with this weight. But it's also an opportunity to succeed into your truth and your love in your life. And that ultimately, the part that is holding on to this is the one that wants to be heard and acknowledged the most. So use this opportunity, this momentum, this flow, this presenceness to meditate, to truly transmute, to become in tune, or to just step out in nature and ground and be present. Or journal. Write more about your feelings. Transmute this emotion and energy. And that's really it. Hopefully, if you took the time to do this, I'm sure you're more aware of this part of you that probably needed this awareness. I know that I needed it. So, thanks for watching.